Hi, y'all. I made it back from Texas. Hi, y'all. My name is Jana Kay, and welcome to Flourish Creatively Podcast number 45. And yes, I am back from Texas. I have had cataract surgery. It's been right at 2 weeks since my surgery. Went to a conference with my husband and got back in this past Saturday. And so today, when you see this video, it is January 30th. And so 2025. So I have been back in Tennessee for the last 4 or 5 days. Anyway, glad to be home. And it was a successful trip. My eye doctor was very pleased with how surgery went. My eye may look a little red. That is because I have to go 2 weeks without any makeup around my eyes. And so the inside of my eyes happens to get a little red. Put cream on, but do suffer a little bit with some dry skin like eczema. And so if my eyes look red, that's probably why. And I've been using them quite a bit today. So that has a tendency to make them red. But very pleased with my vision. And just know it's recent surgery. So my eye is still healing and probably will be for the next few weeks. But thank you so much for all your prayers, your well wishes. I do appreciate you thinking about remembering me and praying for me. Let's get started with our podcast. And I do want to say how excited I am that I have gotten a lot of new subscribers. So welcome in. It is great to have you join me for my Bougie Crochet Wearable series and for all of my podcasts. And just appreciate you all clicking that subscribe button. It does help get my videos out for more people that just really love crochet, a little bit of knitting, fiber arts. But I appreciate each and every one of you, all of my subscribers, new and old, not an age. And for those of you that just watch my videos, give it the thumbs up. Appreciate that. If you want to support my channel, you can do that now. Watch the video, see if you like my content, and then consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing. But just appreciate you all very much because I love talking about crochet, knitting, the things I'm working on, my journey, all the crochet and make-alongs that I have been and will be a part of, and just connecting with you all, getting to know you better, especially through the comments below. I do read them all, appreciate them all, and yeah, thank you. Just want to say thank you. So, I don't have any finished objects right now, but I have several works in progress, so let's get to those. So, Ella at No Catchy Name is doing a hashtag kaleidoscope make-along for 2025. And her idea is that whatever craft you love and enjoy doing, to add color, whether that is through paint, drawings, whether it is through sewing or any kind of fiber arts, whatever it is, photography, just add color or capture color. And her idea for herself is that she's going to work through some variegated and striped yarn to, I guess, work down her stash. And so she is hosting this for at least 4 months through the month of April. and I will link her channel and the introduction video below. You can find other videos where she talks about some of the things that she makes and does even slideshows from people who send her pictures of their makes so that's for you to enjoy. But while I was back in Texas, my mom said, I've got all this yarn and I need to do something with it. Well, my friend KK at K&K Crochet loves corner to corner, and I didn't think my mom had ever done that stitch before. So she pulled out all her yarn, and it happened to be all this variegated yarn that she had. And so I thought, well, I'll teach her the corner to corner stitch, because it's so easy. You can just get going. You don't have to count stitches, and she can use up some of this yarn. And I decided to start a blanket and use up some of her yarn as well. And so I taught her how to do the corner to corner stitch. I'll put a little clip of a video of my mom crocheting. When she gets it done, I will update you on her progress. She's actually making 2 blankets. She started the one from the video, and then she enjoyed the stitch so much that she went to Walmart and bought some more yarn. I think she bought a mandala cake of yarn, and it is more of a striped yarn. And so I'll give you all the details when I put in her pictures of her 2 blankets that she is now working on. Both are using variegated and striped yarn. So the yarn that I chose that she had, hers was a green colorway, and it was also a Hobby Lobby yarn, which is what I chose from her stash, this Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn, and it is called Print. And this one is the colorway Fireworks Show. I love that. And if you've ever seen fireworks, you do see a lot of those colors that are in this skein. It is a 4-weight or worsted Aran weight yarn. This is a 5-ounce ball with 100 or 142 grams, 252 yards, 230 meters. And it calls for a 5.5 millimeter hook, but I'm using for my blanket, I am using a 6 millimeter hook. I am also working with, she had this yarn as well. It is Red Heart with Love yarn. I've never used this before. It is very soft. I really like it. So I am using both of these together. Both are 4-weight yarns. This is the colorway white. And doing a corner to corner blanket with both of those. And here is my progress so far. So let me see if I stand up and get all untwisted here. I do have a stitch marker holding. Oh, I did. Oops, I didn't put it back in. So I'm going to pull out. I had a stitch marker holding it. Let me pull out the yarn here, and that way I can hold it up and show you how far I have gotten. All right, I'm just going to let that fall to the floor, and here we go. Slide my chair back a little bit. So there you go. So I am on the decreases now. So this is how much I have gotten done on the blanket. There you go. I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but what I did, I'll start down here at the bottom. So I did 10 rows with the red heart with love. Then I did 20 of the variegated, the I love this yarn. Then I did 10 more rows of the white. And then I did 20. So I'm doing 10 white, 20 variegated, 10 white, 20 variegated. But I did the longest diagonal. So from the top corner to the bottom corner, I did one row of the white so that it would be 10 and 10 would make 20. Because I got to thinking that if I do 20 and I do 10 and then start decreasing, it's actually 11 and 9. Doing the maths that I so love to do. It's 11 and 9. And so I decided, let me make that just that center diagonal in the white. And so I am decreasing. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 diagonals done out of the 10. So it's still 20, just got that one row of white down the middle of the 20. Then I'll do 10 white, then I'll do 20 of the variegated and end hopefully in the corner. If all my math did work out, I will end in the corner with 10 white. So it will be a mirror image of the blanket. And I think it will turn out to be just about 40 inches by 40 inches, somewhere like that. Then I'll decide if I want to put a border. I haven't made that decision. One of the things that I love about corner to corner is that it really does create really beautiful edges. And so, yeah, so I love this yarn a lot. I love the colorway. You can see, does it look like fireworks? A fireworks show? Maybe. I've seen green, and even though there really doesn't seem to be much green in it. Just a few places every once in a while where you'll see some green. But otherwise, I think it's all the colors in a fireworks show. But very creative name. I do like the name of the yarn. And so that is going to be my first project, not finished, so I can't send Ella any pictures, but I will put the hashtag in so she does know that I am working on that and joining in to her make-along. And so excited about that. It's been a while since I have actually done a blanket like this, just to make a blanket. And so this has been lots of fun. I decided, well, I am joining in with Litza's and Rose's crochet-along called the Gemstones crochet-along. It's the birthstone. I always say gemstones. It's the birthstone crochet-along for 2025. And they are hosting it together, and you each month take the color of the birthstone for that month and make a project. And I'm combining making hats for Bumblebee Mountain Outreach, which is K&K Crochets charity, making hats for that with Litza and Rose's crochet-along. But I thought, why not also, besides a blanket, make a hat for Bumblebee Mountain Outreach and to be part of the Kaleidoscope make-along that Ella is doing. So I started a hat. And this is the top part of the hat. This is a pattern, and I will get everything wrong because I didn't look it up ahead of time, but it is the something of kindness top of the hat that Sanita makes crochet things. or maybe just Sunita Makes Crochet. Anyway, as I said, I'm not only butchering her crown of her hat, the name of that, but also her channel name, but all of it's in the description box below. But I don't know if you can see, you do front post stitches, and it will end up making, maybe it's called burst, it may be called burst of kindness. Anyway, it'll make a crown that looks like a starburst on top. And it may be hard to really see it. I haven't gotten that far. It does kind of will curve and make a pinwheel shape to it, but I thought it was very pretty and very unusual because she uses extended single crochets, not double crochets in the round. And it's really pretty. I really like it. And so, yeah, so I am doing that part for the top of the hat. I will probably go to Mary at aka Mercy Triumphs at Slow Crochet, her corner to corner hat, or I think it's called Manfa's hat from Manfa's Makes channel. It's actually Jennifer at Cinnamon Stitches. It's her pattern named after Manfa. I think that's what she calls the hat. Anyway, I did one. I will, at the end screen, put the playlist to my other podcasts, but link the playlist to my podcast. You can look back. I talked about her hat pattern from Jennifer at Cinnamon Stitches, her hat pattern. And so I'll either do that or the corner to corner hat to finish it. But I thought I would try this crown from Sunita. And so you need to watch Sunita's channel. She's so cute, very talented crocheter, makes some really cute things, even the crown of this hat. So I'm loving it so far and very much loving that extended single crochet. This may be the crown of my hats, my beanies that I do from now on because I'm really loving it. Anyway, enjoying that pattern. I thought I missed a front post stitch, but I don't think I did. So anyway, because my mom had, I think she had 6 skeins of this yarn, maybe 5. And so have an extra one. So I will finish up in the 20 rows of the variegated. I will finish up and may have to start a new skein of this, but I should be able in the next 20 to use up a skein. So that means it will probably be 3.5 to 4 skeins that of the variegated that I will use for the blanket. It will be maybe 1 to 1.5 skeins of this. And this is, I didn't tell you that it is a 6 ounce. So it's bigger. This is a 5 ounce, 5 ounce skein. This is a 6 ounce skein. So it's only going to take about 1.5 to do the white part of the blanket. So anyway, excited about those two projects that I am doing for Ella's Make-Along called the Kaleidoscope Make-Along or MAL for 2025. And even as part of that, I have a third project. It is a knitting project. I love knitting socks. And yes, I'm still working on that other sock that I have started where I was practicing changing yarns, but I got started on another sock and wanting to make one for my mom. I am using Premier Fruits yarn. It is not a wool yarn. It is 93% acrylic and 7% PBT, which is like nylon, to give it the durability and the stretchiness to the socks. So this is 215 meters, 235 yards. It is a 50-gram ball, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's supposed to look like this fruit. Do you know what it is? Yep, if you guessed it, it is a watermelon, and that is the colorway of this yarn. And so this is what it is working up like so far. There you go, a watermelon. I love it. So this one, because it is not 100-gram skein, I have done 15 rounds for the cuff, the knit 2, purl 2 cuff. I'm only going to do 40 rounds for the leg before I get to the heel flap and gusset. My mom, like me, has a tiny foot, and I don't even come close when I make a pair of socks to using up 100-gram skein. And so I have a feeling I should be okay making this cuff just about 5 rounds shorter and the leg 20 rounds shorter than the socks I normally make. But my mom said she doesn't mind more like ankle length socks, and she wears a lot of boots in the winter time, and so I think I hope she will enjoy these socks being acrylic. Oh, and this is what the yarn looks like on the ball. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that pretty? So fun and pretty, and I just love it. Very affordable yarn for sock yarn, and put out by Premier, so very easy to find. Yeah, I just ordered it from their website, and they have I ordered other fruits. I think I have a guava and strawberry as well, and so yeah, excited about making some shorty socks, not only for my mother but for me. But I will also enter this into Ella's Make Along, the hashtag Kaleidoscope Mal 2025. So yeah, so those are my whips that I have. I do have 2 others, and you can catch the my last bougie crochet wearable. I'll put a link here. You can catch that. It's episode 17, and I talk about my oversized sweater that I'm working on and the Hexie cardigan that I am also working on. Actually, it's called the Hexie shirt, the pattern that I am using. So yeah, hopefully you will be interested, catch that episode, and I will also link it in the description box below. So those are my whips. Upcoming plans. So now that I am back home and I have the thing that holds up my camera, which can also video from above looking down, I plan on working on my Christmas stocking tutorial. It was a stocking that I entered in Battle of the Stitches, which is hosted every month by Heather at Strings and Threads and Teresa at Critters Crochet. And I never did a tutorial, just didn't have time in the month of December. So plan on working on that tutorial now that I am back home for a little while. No trips planned till a short trip in March and another short trip but overseas in April. But otherwise, I will be home and plan on getting that tutorial going. I have joined the Decade Divas, and again, Teresa at Critters Crochet and Shannon at the Spoony Stitcher host that. You may have a couple of days, maybe only one day, if you're interested to join the Decade Divas. But what that means is that during the month of October, we are going to highlight the 1970s and show a project, or maybe two, but put up a video that will highlight a project that was inspired by the 1970s. I already have my project decided, and so I got a new crochet book that I am going to use a pattern from one of those, and I did talk about that in one of my recent podcasts. I think it was the end of December, beginning of January podcast. And so excited about that. I just need to get that started. And because I think it will take me a few weeks, maybe a couple of months to get that done. And so looking forward to that, putting up my video for whatever day in the month of October that I am assigned, and excited about seeing everyone else's 1970s project. So I just had my 60th birthday this month, and so I was born in 1965, so most of my formative years were in the 1970s, from my elementary, middle school, junior high years. I started high school in 1980 because we didn't start high school back then until grade 10. And so the early 80s are also, I consider, part of my formative years. Loved the 1980s, but also really loved the 1970s, especially TV and movies, and a little bit of music from the later 1970s was also very influential in my growing up days. So looking forward to that. I will continue with Litza and Rose's crochet-a-long, doing the birthstones and making a hat for Bumblebee Mountain Outreach each month. So that will be going on. And I really want to do a mosaic blanket. I don't know if I will do it as a crochet-along or not, but really researching right now. I have in the past joined Jada in Stitches and her blanket, calendar blanket that she does each year. I think I've done 3 of those. But I really want to do a mosaic blanket, so I'm not sure I want to take on, even though her calendar blanket this year is called the Unblanket. You don't have to make a blanket, but I really don't want to take on a project like that because I know that there is a lot of crocheting involved in making mosaic blankets, or I should say a lot of time involved in making crochet or mosaic blankets. And so I really want to set aside time to get that done, to do a mosaic blanket. And I think I've got to divide it up throughout the year and do little bits throughout the year. So maybe it will be a crochet along that you would be invited to join me in, but I'm not sure. Still doing a little bit of research, but hopefully by my next podcast, I will let you know. All right. So that is it for all the yarny talk, and I'm going to move into our Discovery Bible study. All right. Thank you for joining me for this Bible study. So I call it Discovery Bible Study because that's the method that I use, where I ask 3 questions after reading a passage. I ask, what does it say about God, about people, and how can I obey? The 4th question is, who can I share it with? But always love to share my thoughts on what I have studied with you. So this is more of a devotional thought, but it does come out of the Discovery Bible Study that I do as I read through the Bible each day, or a book of the Bible each day during my alone time with the Lord. So I got stuck on 1 Samuel chapter 13 and thought that's what I was going to share until the last 2 days. I have been in 1 Samuel chapter 16. Now, sometimes I go through a chapter in one day and really write things down, and get all those questions done in one sitting. But sometimes it stays with me through a day, and I just have to return to it a second day and really write down what I believe I'm hearing and learning through that chapter. And so I want to look at 1 Samuel chapter 16. Now, I'll give you an overview, and there's one verse that I want to share, what stood out to me from that one verse. And so chapter 16 starts out with Saul is rejected now as king. God has said he is going to take the kingship away from him and his descendants, because that's how kingships, the monarchy works. It's handed down from father to son to the next son to so forth. But because of sin in Saul's life, God said that he and his descendants would no longer be on the throne. And so Samuel goes and anoints David, the son of Jesse, his last born, 8th son. And he is anointed as king. And then that's the first part of 16. And then in the next part of 16, we return back. Saul is still king. So we return back to his home, his palace, and we hear that because the Lord's Spirit has departed, Saul is no longer walking with the Lord, that he is really struggling mentally. And he needs to find someone, a musician, that can play the harp or lyre and come, and when he is having some mental difficulty breakdowns, then he can listen to the music. It would be soothing and would bring him back into his right mind. And verse 18 says, well, I'm going to start with 17. 17 says, so Saul said to his servants, provide for me a man who can play well and bring him to me. And then verse 18 said, one of the young men answered, behold, I have seen a son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, who is skillful in playing, a man of valor, a man of war, prudent in speech, and a man of good presence. And the Lord is with him. And so in verse 19, it says, so Saul sent messengers to Jesse and said, send me David, your son. And I just got to thinking about, here is this servant, a young servant, serving the king, and what his life must have been like, doing the same thing day in, day out, stressed that he's serving the king, so everything has to be done to the king's liking, exactly as he has been told and trained to do. And also just thinking, I'm a servant. I am nothing but a lowly servant. And yet he is mentioned in God's word because he just so happened to know David. It's amazing how God orchestrates our lives. He has a plan for each and every one of us, even down to this lowly, humble servant who probably thought, I don't do anything important except serve the king, instead of maybe just a common person. I'm serving the king, but yet I am just a servant. I am not important. And yet God orchestrated his history, designed his history so that he met a guy, the eighth son of an ordinary man, the son who just happened to be tending sheep while he was young and became a man, as he said, of valor. But he just, somehow their paths crossed. We don't know how. Maybe they grew up, maybe this servant grew up in Bethlehem. We don't know how their paths crossed. But God orchestrated it so this servant would meet David and would know he played the harp. I mean, when Samuel, when he anointed David, David was out tending sheep. That's maybe all Samuel knew about David, is that he was the eighth born son, and he tended sheep because that's what the younger people did back then. It was also a very lowly job. And here this servant crossed paths long enough to know that David was very good at playing the harp or the lyre. God can use each and every one of us, no matter who we are, how we feel about our job or ourselves. Maybe you're in a place where you don't feel like you're doing much for the Lord. You work at a job that doesn't seem very important, but God can use you. And this servant was mentioned. We don't know his name, but he was mentioned in God's word. God sees us. God has a plan for us. God loves us. And we just need to trust him, follow him, be obedient to him. I think this young man felt confident enough to speak up because he did good work. He probably got up every day and said, hey, I may be a lowly servant, but I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. So when the king says, I need somebody who can play the harp, the young man felt able to speak up and say, I know a guy. And so don't discount anything about your life, what you do, who you are, what you look like, how you feel, your abilities, your disabilities, whatever it is. God can use you. He sees you and has a plan for your life and orchestrates even the smallest details of your life. And so I want to close because what came to mind was a song that I sang in church on Sunday called, or we sang, the congregation sang, called His Glory, My Good. It is by a group called City A Light, and I would like to close with the 2 verses from that song with the lyrics. I'm not going to sing it. I'm just going to read the lyrics to you. So this is verse 1 and verse 2 says this: I have seen my Father's glory revealed in Jesus Christ, and the more that I behold him, the more he satisfies. When I gaze upon his beauty, when I see him as I should, then my eyes are lifted upward, for his glory am I good. So if you spend time in God's word, getting to know him, it is great. It is a great thing. He will satisfy for his glory and your good. And then verse 2, there is hope in every trial. For I can trust the Lord. He will turn my heart towards him and help me bear the thorn. So in faith I follow Jesus on the road not understood, for I know that he is working for his glory and my good. And I just saw that in the servant's life. He was working in this servant not only for God's glory, but also for the servant's good. So may you know that today, and may this time just be a blessing to you. Thank you all so much for joining me through the yarny part, through the Bible study devotional part, and I hope you all have an amazing day. Thanks for being you, and just really appreciate you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye, y'all.